Cullison, one of the residents of this home, and my wife, Marcia Massey. We welcome you tonight to the first of what we think is going to be 6 knockout debates for Hillary. So we are very happy to have you all here. We think that this is the kind of energy that we want to see throughout this campaign to take her forward, and it's just really nice, and just to hear the discussion and return to some sanity. That's what I'm looking forward to tonight. I mean, having a good debate is something that we need to do to make sure that we have the right options in front of us all the time. As soon as, many people have heard my theory that if 2 people are agreeing all the time, one of them is not thinking. So
only we're all agreed on Hillary.
And we can say she's, a bit slow to some things, but that's all right. But I think that, I think what we're going to hear tonight is, some reasonable discussion about the things that really mean the most to us, which is how do we move this country forward in a way that everyone has equal opportunities, where there are no differences among groups in terms of options and financial wherewithal and the ability to have health care and the ability to have education. These are the things that mean the most to us, and these are the folks who are going to talk about this tonight. They're not going to talk about how some people belong behind a wall. How some people are not entitled to the options that the rest of people have. So that's not what we're going to hear, and that's why this is really exciting. I do want to introduce a couple of other people. One is Nancy Florine.
Yeah, Nancy.
And of course the other co-host for this party, Karen. Robbie Rich.
Okay.
So thank you. So before I used up all my time, we also want to welcome Ann Lewis, who is a longtime friend and advisor of the Clintons, and she's going to give us the lowdown on where things are right now. So Ann, thank you very much.
I think the best way to describe where this campaign is right now is I look around this room and I see all of you, and I know there are debate watch parties going on around the country. This kind of energy, this kind of excitement, and this kind of crowd, and that's a pretty good sign. But let me give you some other examples. Sometimes I think the best way to know what's going on in the campaign is not necessarily what we see on television. Sorry, guys. I mean, you're doing your best, but you miss a lot. And one example I'm going to use is last week. Because last weekend, on Friday night, Hillary was in Miami on Friday. She went on stage to a concert with a singer named Mark Anthony. All right, I never heard.
He's
He was married to Jennifer Lopez. I know who she is. So but out there, there were 18,000 people in that theater, and they gave her a huge round of applause. That was Friday evening. Saturday morning, she's in Washington. She goes and speaks to the Human Rights Campaign and got, again, a great reception, a lot of good friends there, not just because her old friend Chad Griffin was from Little Rock. I'm saying there was more to it than that, like substance, but she went to the Human Rights Campaign, spoke about dignity, about respect, about how we build that world that Bonnie's been talking about, where everyone is respected, everyone is valued, and as they've said there about her, that's a message she has brought all over the world as Secretary of State. Then from the Human Rights Campaign, she went to the NEA, National Education Association, did a Q&A with the teachers, and won their endorsement. So that was the 7th. Yes, NEA is the largest. She also has the AFT, the Teachers Union. She's got the machinists. She's got the carpenters. There are 7 unions who are supporting her now. And then, after that, she went off and taped Saturday Night Live.
Which was funny.
She did a great job on it.
Wasn't she great?
She was
So
really was.
we're going to get new buttons that say Val.
You bet.
Now, I don't get envious often, but I did happen to see on my feed, on my Hillary feed, that the volunteers in New Hampshire, when she walked into the room, were singing, got up and sang,
Lean on me.
Lean on Me.
Oh.
And I thought, we could do that. Wouldn't that be smart? So we ought to think about how we do that. And they did Lean on Me and then said, you know, you got a friend in Hillary. That's the kind of day in, day out campaigning she was doing. Going out, meeting with people, meeting with truly not just the base of the Democratic Party, but increasingly across the Democratic Party. We're really proud of her. The second piece I want to do is I, this afternoon, went on MSNBC to do, you know, debate, getting ready for the debate. And so because it was cable television, I had to write everything I wanted to say on a card. And that's how I discipline myself, that I'll get it all in. But here's what I wrote about what Hillary was for, to keep it in the smallest possible space. I said, Hillary's going to talk about her agenda for the future. She's going to talk about how do you grow middle-income jobs and raise wages by, for example, smart investments in infrastructure, the kind of public investments that result in boosting the private economy. And how do we, as we grow jobs, reduce inequality, raise the minimum wage, equal support, equal pay for women, family leave, because that's how we get, when women are getting paid what they're worth, families grow, and a tax plan, a fair tax plan that closes the loopholes that right now reward the people who it sometimes seems do the least and put the money back and reward the people who are working the hardest. So middle income jobs, inequality, a fair tax plan, go after the costs that squeeze middle income families, like the cost of college, like how do we reduce these college loans that are crippling young people as they try to get out there for their future, and prescription drugs. Hillary says we've got to fight to protect and defend the Affordable Care Act. Now that we finally have health care available for millions of Americans, we cannot let it be rolled back, but it's time to look forward. What do we do next? And that includes the cost of prescription drugs. We've got to do something about guns. And how do we protect our families? Yes. We will talk about guns and what do we do to protect our families from gun violence? How do we take on climate change? And how do we move from the economy we've got now, which is based on fossil fuel, into renewable energy? Now, those are Hillary's plans. I can do it all pretty fast if I need to, and there's more. I mean, there are pages and pages, but you think about those 5 points and think what our future can look like as we go forward. And let me say, for every one of those plans, she's got, again, proposals. She's got worked out how it would work and how she will pay for it. And that's the second part. Where will the money come from? How do we make those public investments? How do we reward people who are working hardest? How do we move into renewable energy? So we've got a lot to be proud of. I'll do one last thing, since you were nice enough to show suffragette. Some of my friends know I collect suffrage material. I think, because I want to tell the story. How did women win the vote? And when you read the history, you never say women were given the vote. There was no give about it. They marched, they organized, they lobbied, they campaigned, and eventually they won. And sometimes we're in danger of just taking things for granted. We take the vote for granted, that we just wake up every day and we've got it, even though around the world right now, people are dying. They're in prison just for trying to get the kind of rights that we have. And so I think for a moment we could also think, what would our world be like if women hadn't won the vote? What a difference, what difference would it make if today women still did not vote? Think what an opportunity we have, think what power we have, and now let's think about how we're going to use it. So, thank you all for being here. I think we're just on time for the debate. I swear I didn't see that person in the field. And again, Bonnie Marshall, thank you both so much for having me.